Hello everyone. Today we'll be learning about Photoshop and how to use Photoshop for creating web graphics and designing user interfaces. In this part of the video, I'll be explaining you some of the commonly used tools from Photoshop. Now we will not be going into too much detail as Photoshop is being used in various fields like photography, graphic designing, digital painting as well as UI designing. So there are some tools which are actually not used in UI designing but are more often used in all these other fields. So this video will concern with only those tools that you will be needing to design a user interface. In this video, we are going to use Photoshop CC, which is one of the versions of Photoshop. So let's get started. So we will just start by creating a new project. Click on File, click on New. So as you can see, it asks for the options of creating a canvas. So Photoshop CC comes with a lot of other presets for creating like a web UI or a mobile app design or a poster or international paper. So these are basically there because they have a predetermined height, width, resolution, color, background, all of these already preset. So we don't really have to spend time on making the canvas on our own. So for now, we're just going to create our own canvas and I'm going to create it in pixels. Let's just make this 1000 by 1000 pixels. And you can select different options. So for now, we'll just keep it pixel by inch. And you can actually save this preset as well. So if you want to use the same type of canvas in your project and you want to create different screens, you can save this preset so that every time you create a screen, you can use this preset. So I'll just click on OK. And this is exactly how our usual editing interface of Photoshop looks like. So this white area is your canvas. The panel on your left shows all the tools that you can use in Photoshop. So your different tools which we will be discussing. The panel on the top actually shows the properties of these tools. So for example, if you use like a text tool and if you want to change the shape, the font size, or you want to change the font, you can use the top panel. So these are the more basic properties that you can change. And on your right side over here are more advanced options that we will be discovering as we go through. So let's just bring an image. Let's take a bike's image. And place it on the canvas. So as you can see, when I added the image to the canvas, it actually gets added as a layer over here. So the use of this portion is that you can actually hide or display the layer, you can delete the layer. It just becomes like everything that you add on the canvas, it's added as a layer one on top of the other. So you can actually reorder these layers as well. So I'm going to show you the reordering later on. Okay, so let's just start by discovering all these tools. So as you can see, the first one is the move tool, which we are actually using right now, which is basically helping us move any part of the canvas, any object that we want to move. Okay, then the second one is your Marquee tool. So the Marquee tool is actually used to select any portion of an image or any portion of the canvas. So if you long press on the tool, you can actually get more options in this. So for example, the rectangular Marquee tool, if you want to use this, we're just simply going to drag it and see it's creating like a rectangle. And if we press shift on this, it will actually make a square selection. So now it's making a square selection. If I remove shift, it's going to make a rectangle selection. So now once you've selected this, we can just copy paste this and that becomes our second layer. So we can use the move tool to move this layer, right? So and just like this, you have all the other options. For example, you have an elliptical one, which is going to help you make something like an ellipse, or if you press shift, it's going to help you make a square circle selection. So yeah, that's it. And if you want to unselect it, you can just simply click on Control D and it gets unselected. Okay, moving on to the next tool. This is called the Lasso Tool. So the Lasso Tool is actually used for free selection. So you can just move your hand freely around the image, and wherever you stop, this becomes your closed form, free form selection. You can simply Control V, and yeah, that just got added as another layer. So I'm just going to remove the layers to avoid confusion. Yeah, you can just click on the layer and press delete. So just like the Marquee tool, if you long press this tool or if you just right click on it, you will find other options. So the second option is a Polygonal Lasso Tool. So in this, it actually creates lines. So you can just create like every time you just click and drag, and it creates a polygonal selection. And the other one is slightly more precise. It's the magnetic lasso tool. So if you just click on one portion, I'm just going to increase the size of the screen. Yeah, so just click one portion and then you keep on dragging this. So as you can see, it is able to identify the images of the edges of the image, right? And as you can see, it's able to identify similar looking pixels, in which it's just able to identify the edges. So once I select it, I press enter, and yeah, so this is a much more precise way of making a selection, right? So if I create, yeah, this becomes a layer. I can use the move one to, it's just a more precise way of selecting it. But there is even a more precise way of making selection that we will be discovering as we just go through all the tools. Okay, so our next tool that we're going to be discussing is the crop tool. So the crop tool is very simple as just any other crop tool. If you make the selection, the image gets cropped. So if I just press enter, this image will be cropped. The next tool that we will be using is an eyedrop tool. So the eyedropper tool is just simply to pick the color from an image or from whatever is present on the canvas. So for example, if I want to take this black color or gray color, I just click on it and it's simply selected as the foreground color. And the color behind it is called the background color. So for example, if I want the green color, I just press Alt and then click on it and it becomes my background color. Okay, so you will be using these foreground and background colors while if you want to use the paintbrush tool or just to fill up any image. So it's because if you want to pick the color from a particular image, this is a very good tool that you could be using, like for example, while making your app. So the next tool that we will use is this is a brush tool. It works just like any other brush tool. You can just make strokes. You can use different types of stroke. This is a more sharper stroke, as you can see. And you can increase the size of the stroke. So yeah. Okay, and if you want to go back multiple steps, like undo multiple steps that you've already taken, you just click on Alt, Control and Z. And for the Mac users, you can use Alt, Command and Z. Okay, so it can go back to like 50 steps. Okay, So the next tool is the eraser tool. Eraser tool is, again, you just drag it over the image and you can erase any portion, right? So the next tool is the gradient tool. So like the gradient is actually a combination of two or more colors. So for example, I can demonstrate it using the shape tool. So shape tool is just to create any type of shape. You have different options. So for example, I'm going to create a rectangle over here, and so this is right now filled with this color. I can change this. So this basically denotes that no color should be used to fill this. So like any solid color, you can use blue, green, red, anything, or you can create a gradient. So this is, as you can see, it's a combination of two colors. I can change the color by double clicking on it. For example, this could be a combination of red and white. I can actually add more types of gradients to it. So if I just simply click on this, I get another one over here, and I can drag it to, I can actually show you using a different color. Okay, so now I just double clicked on it and I'm going to select a blue color. And as you can see, another color is added on the gradient, and I can simply drag it to change the way the gradient makes the shift. If I just drag it very close to the other stopper, it's going to make a very drastic transition. So you would want to take care of that while you're creating a gradient. But it's up to you. That's okay. So now we're just going to remove this layer. And the next tool that we will be discovering is the pen tool. So pen tool is actually used to make a more precise selection that we were talking about earlier in this video. So I can just simply keep clicking these points, and if I click shift, press shift and then click, it's going to create like straight lines. So, and if you just click on the first button, it's first point, it's going to create a closed shape. So how this could be very useful is it could make very precise selection while on an image. I just demonstrated you on the white canvas so that you're able to see it. We can also try it on the image. So let's just zoom into the image and just keep making these selections. As you can see, it's you can do it manually. This is what you can do it manually, right? And it's just a more precise way of selecting. And one of the most important thing is that these straight lines can actually be converted into curves. So if I just click on it and if I don't leave the mouse and if I drag it, it converts into a curved edge instead of a straight line. So in this way, you can refine your selections as well. You can just double click on it, and if you want a particular point, so for example this, if you want to edit this, you can simply just click on this and this edge gets edited, it gets refined. So it's just a easier manual way of making selections. Right. So now the next tool that we're going to see is the horizontal type tool. It's used to add text to your project. So you can just make a selection and type, okay, this is using a different color. I can just use a black color and I can type hello Photoshop. So make it bigger. Users, and you can actually use a lot of different options present on the right hand side of the tool. So you can increase the font size, decrease the font size using this. You can increase the size between the vertical the vertical size alignment, and you can actually increase the size between the different characters as well. So this will definitely be more useful while you're creating an app and the way you want your app to look like. You have other very common options present like italics or strike or underline, and these are just different options present. You can change the type of font that you're going to be using. These are all the basic options that you always see in all the other paint tools and different tools. So let's just get rid of this layer again. And we've discovered the tool at the end of this video. In this video, we saw the different types of tools present in Photoshop and how we can use them. In the next part of the video, we will actually be using these tools and making a proper user interface design, which is exactly what you will be using Photoshop for. So see you in the next video.